just press play on the Nerd Mixtape. Thank you for joining us. My name's Jim.
Julia.
And Melinda.
So we just finished watching Game of Thrones, well, like last Sunday.
But
it just ended. Season 7 just ended of Game of Thrones, and we were pretty excited about it. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what happened on Game of Thrones, and for season 7 specifically, because we can't remember everything. Game of Thrones has been going on since who knows what year. 2011. That's a long time ago.
Little. That was like your high school senior year.
That was my senior year of high school.
You guys were all like all emo, the emo phase or whatever at that time?
That was senior year. I had surpassed that.
Oh, you were in your goth, or what was it back
Possibly,
then?
Jim.
Oh, okay.
The Chola Punk.
The Chola Punk phase. Nice. Okay, so yeah, Game of Thrones has been out for a long time. Season 7 finally came and went. It was really fast.
Real fast.
We only got
short.
7 episodes, right?
That was short.
Super short. So, but a lot of stuff happened in 7 episodes. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff. I think that, this was the first season. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's beyond the books, right? Like, or was it last season?
I think it was. No, I don't know. I don't want to say what it was.
You know what? I think it was last
season
when Jon Snow actually came back to life. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. So Game of Thrones season 7 spoilers, major spoilers, obviously. So a lot of cool stuff happened. What were some of your favorite things you remember from this season? You're like, I don't remember.
Everything. Every single episode was like action packed for me. Like I love the loot train. Episode 4.
Okay.
Just seeing the dragons come out and destroy those. That was such a good episode. Ed Sheeran was not one of my favorite moments, but it was hilarious.
I didn't know who that was. I know who he is.
He got a lot of hate for that episode.
Poor guy. He didn't do anything. He's just redhead, right?
He just sang. I don't know where all the hate came from.
Did he sing in the episode?
He did. The song. It's a very popular song in Game of Thrones. It's in the books. He sang it.
The Tower or something. Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that he said. I forgot. That was like in the first episode or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first episode.
So I hadn't watched them I watched like 4 in a row because I was behind, and every week Jim, watch it, and I was afraid Claudia was going to spoil something.
It's always me, man.
Well, because you have a history of doing that.
A history of spoiling things.
You do.
Yeah. So, but we finally watched it. It was great. Episode after episode. I know you mentioned the loot train, right? So that was the one where the Lannisters, for the first time, you had Jaime and the whole army seeing a dragon, like a legit dragon, and the Dothraki even. They were terrified of the Dothraki, and then the dragon coming in and like sealing the deal.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking? I know in that episode you had that threat of that arrow that could pierce.
Scorpion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pierce him. How'd you feel?
With the king.
Yeah. With Braun, where he had.
Oh yeah. With the first thing that can do. What was it? The only thing that can kill a dragon, I think, is what Cersei said at one point. I was so scared, and I like him as a character. Doesn't care about anyone except himself, but I don't know. I like him for some reason.
He likes being called Lord, right?
Oh yeah,
he's
something like being called Lord.
Yeah. So he was super. He's a cool character. Yeah. Anything else? Any things you like? What was your favorite thing from this season?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've been watching Game of Thrones for a long time. Since it started, and I know a lot of people did not really like this season because it went by so fast, and a lot of people were saying that the plot was convoluted, and just because they wanted to get everything in there within the 7 episode arc.
Yeah.
But I loved it. To be honest, I think this is my favorite season because there wasn't fluff. What needed to get done was happening real fast, and that's what I like. There wasn't any filler episodes. It was everything that was happening needed to happen to get to where they ended up, and I love that about this season.
Yeah, that's true. I did hear on another podcast where they were talking about how the limited amount of episodes in the season was kind of a bad thing, but they did trim a lot of the fat out, Yeah. So, which also, this show is very expensive. It's one thing, one of the complaints, I know a lot of people are like, hey, where's Wolfie? What's his name? Jon Snow's wolf. Ghost. Where's Ghost? Ghost would have been there. Ghost would have been there next to Jon during the Battle of the Bastards. He would have been last season. He would have been there during this thing. He wouldn't have just. But realistically, you have to cut. They can't afford.
It's expensive.
It's expensive to render that stuff to the graphics for that. Same thing with the dragons. We got lots of scenes with dragons and huge. It was great.
Yeah. If it was 7 episodes of dragons, to be honest, I wouldn't hate it. It'd still be really good.
Dragon Tales,
yeah.
No, and that episode, the loot train, that's one of my favorites too, because it broke the record of the most burned men on set. Like,
I didn't know that. Who held that record before?
I don't know who held it, but we
Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Or most killed. Most killed, I think, was Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow!
So
I'm not 100% accurate. I'm like 90%
I didn't
sure.
know people were like counting these things. Wow. Yeah. So that's very specific though. Most burned men.
Burned or killed?
Most burned stunt men on set.
Oh yeah, because a lot of these things are practical stunts.
Oh, you mean like in real life, not on camera, not physical like numbers. I'm referring to an actual
movie. Like
I'm referring
as a part of a movie,
to cinematically, like Lord of the Rings held that number for most people killed in a franchise.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what you were referring to.
No, most
stuntmen.
Stuntmen.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that you would see that. You see the flames engulfed in them, which is super cool.
Did you guys watch the end of every episode had like a little behind the scenes of the episode?
I only saw the last one, I think, or the one before that. So it was pretty cool though, the insider thing.
That episode had that, and I was like, oh my god, that's crazy.
It's a cool little fact.
Because they show like all the work that goes behind every episode, and I'm like, oh my god.
What were their favorite moments in the season?
What was your favorite moment in the season?
Yeah,
what were my favorite? I don't know. I had a bunch of them. Well, like some of the cool stuff. I mean, you had a lot of cool things toward the end. Like I think in the penultimate episode where you had this whole, I was joking about it, like this Suicide Squad type or A-Team type of team up where you had, Jon Snow, you had, what's his name? The redheaded, I can't remember his name.
The little one?
Oh, no,
he's talking about the
when
ginger.
They went in, the redheaded.
Ginger.
He is, and he even calls him that
he's
too,
like,
right?
Gingers are beautiful. That was my favorite quote.
Yeah, he's a redheaded wildling with the beard, the one who has a thing
he's
for.
so good.
Yeah, then you had the Hound. You had this all the other cool parts with that group. How cool was freaking lighting a sword on fire?
That was
like I thought that was super cool. I was like, that's so awesome.
They only did that once before, like in the earlier seasons.
When he fought the Hound
in season 4. What was that, season 4?
Yeah, where they scared the Hound.
Yeah, and we hadn't seen it since then, and so I mean, I think I love that.
That was cool.
I think it's really cool.
It's a cool power.
I mean, I loved the Stark reunion too.
Oh,
that one. I mean, Macy Williams never met Jon Snow. Arya Stark, but I mean, that's the next.
Not
season.
yet, right? Yeah.
All that excitement.
Yeah, it's cool. The whole reunion between Sansa and Arya was cool, and then there's that tension immediately. That hug, and then like, oh, let's.
The awkwardness starts real fast.
So, what do you think? Do you think they were like planning this whole thing, or there was this real tension? The show showed that there was a real tension between Arya and Sansa, and then eventually they got past that at a certain point off screen, where they figured out what Sansa knew what Littlefinger was doing, right? Like, what do you think with that?
Well, you're asking if they had plotted?
If they had plotted against him from the beginning, or they found out toward like in the middle?
It was not from the beginning at all. Sansa, I mean, she said herself, like, it takes her a long time to learn, but eventually she does. And I think she was never really under his spell. It was just, I mean, she stayed with him. I guess he was someone that she could vent to about everything that was happening. And I don't think it was from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I didn't know. How did you feel about that?
I was scared because, their history and, sisters. But, like, their history, I mean, Arya was there when her dad was killed and Sansa was there on the stage. And I can, like, imagine the anger that she has towards her.
It's like, why didn't you do anything? She told her, right? And
so, to me, that tension was a little believable. So, this last episode, I was, like, terrified. I'm like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? It's going to go down. And I was hoping that Sansa wouldn't be that stupid because, I mean, you could tell she wants to be Lady of Winterfell and she was going to, like, I was afraid she was going to betray Jon Snow in this episode. But I don't know. I have a theory, or maybe, like, I think that Brandon Stark, maybe since he sees everything, he talked to her and he let them know, like, because he sees everything, like, hey, you guys, cut it out. It's Littlefinger that's playing you guys, but
I don't think so. I don't think Bran had anything to do with that. I think it was them two together because Bran
with Bran
was weird.
He was at the end. He was on there.
Well,
yeah,
but he does it at his own time. Like, he doesn't like stop the cheeseman just to stop it. Like,
he did say Bran like is no more, pretty much, right? He's like, I am the three-eyed raven.
Yeah, he's the three-eyed raven. So I don't think it mattered to him that his two sisters were fighting. Like, that wasn't
so beneath
an issue
him or something.
Yeah, like, that wasn't not that it was beneath him. It's just like, it's not an issue. Like, he was not. He's apathetic toward it because he has other things to worry about or whatever. But I don't think he had anything to do with it.
Maybe he had. I think he had maybe a little reassurance because he did like step at the end with. We're talking about the scene where Littlefinger, where we come in and they bring Arya in, which is such a cool scene. What did you think at that point? Did you know?
I wasn't anticipating it at all. That came as a surprise to me, and it was a really good surprise.
Okay, I was like, they're gonna say Lord Baelish, and sure enough, I knew it. I was like, oh, this is setting up to where he's gonna get killed. But I kind of didn't want him to because like he's such a great villain.
Someone needed to die the last episode though.
And he had it coming, and that's one thing I loved how they backed up everything. Like the first time when they met in the reunion, Sansa and Arya, they reminded you about season 1 about like, hey, Dad, you saw our dad getting killed and you did nothing. And then they reminded the audience here about how Littlefinger tricked the sister to poison Jon Arryn, which was the Hand of the King, which when he died, it made Baratheon come and ask Ned to be the Hand of the King, which started this whole domino effect.
Yeah.
It was all Littlefinger. Man, it was crazy.
He's so conniving, and he annoyed me for so long. He wasn't like a villain that I liked.
Yeah.
At all, and I was happy that Arya was.
You didn't like him as a villain?
No, I didn't. I like villains, I do. But he wasn't one that I. Not that I didn't like him, I just didn't care for him the way I usually do with villains. And I was glad when Arya sliced his throat. I thought it was so cool, and I'm so happy that now she has his face because we're gonna see if anything happens in season
She peeled his face off.
Well, she probably did after the fact.
So cool.
No, because remember, they'll take him and then they'll prepare him, and then she could. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about the faceless thing.
She's gonna take his face, and I think that's gonna be something
bigger. Do you think she's gonna go to King's Landing or something?
I think she's gonna go to Westeros, and she's going to
murder Cersei.
She's gonna. I mean, it's not beneath. We know that he has changed his allegiance multiple times, so it's not under him, and Cersei knows it's not under him to change. So if he / Arya goes to him and starts begging for
forgiveness,
her,
or making an allegiance to her and helping her,
saying like, I have all the secrets from the Starks and this and that, like heck yeah, I have no doubt Arya can kill her.
That's a good theory.
And when Sansa threw that line back at him, like, when I'm trying to figure out people's motives, I play a little
You
game.
really like that saying. No. I think you adopted it. You might have missed the point of the episode.
I know.
Remember the villain?
But it's like karma. She's using like his line against him, and then perfect.
It was perfect. Yeah, there was some cool. I saw I think an interview a while back with George R.R. Martin, Railroad Martin for people. George Railroad Martin. It's not his name. That's not what it stands for. But he was talking about how the villains, how sometimes the gray. There's not just a black and white. There's always gray things in between. So. And the villain doesn't know they're the villain sometimes. And I think I've mentioned that. I think I've mentioned that several times. So I just thought that was good that he mentioned the same thing. So that's some cool stuff. And I mean, a lot of cool stuff in the last episode. Before that, though, any other favorite things that you had? There's so much that happened, and I can't remember any of them. Perfect. No, and also we can talk about what?
When they killed the dragon. No.
So that was. Were you surprised with that?
That broke my heart. I knew it was coming because I read the stupid spoilers.
Oh, really?
My Pablo husband, Pablo, my husband, he gets into them, so I read them, and it's funny because for this season he didn't want to read anything. Yeah. But I'm hooked, so I wanted to kind of read the chismes and see what was gonna happen, and I knew that one of the dragons was gonna die according to the spoilers, and when it did,
why would you want to read spoilers?
I know. Yeah. Why do that to yourself?
Because I couldn't wait a week without knowing. I couldn't sleep. I was just going over these scenarios, and so when it finally happened, I was like, no, they were right. ¿Por qué, Groot? ¿Por qué?
Yeah. Did you have any idea? Did you feel it coming?
Yeah, I felt it coming. Yeah. The dragons were playing a larger and larger role, and I anticipated. I don't see any spoilers at all, so I go in completely blind to the episodes. But I you realize that they're playing a larger role, and so I'm like, we're gonna lose one today. We're gonna lose one this season.
Yeah.
And it happened,
and in the coolest way possible too, right?
I know it was, but it's so sad, and knowing, I don't know, like I just keep having flashbacks to Jon's face when Daenerys came and like she held out his hand for him, and he just went back being a dum-dum.
Yeah, how dumb was that? When you were like, what are you doing?
It wasn't even necessary. Like her hand, it was like their hands were like this, and then he's like, peace out.
I'm
just
gonna
like
go give you some more time. Ching, ching, ching.
It's so dumb. Like the boy mentality. I don't understand it. But yeah, so it was so good, and I loved Daenerys this entire season. I loved. I know that a lot of people didn't like that she was like, I mean, closer to her dad, I guess. The Mad King. What was his name? The
Mad King. We call him.
And she was just like, flame, like making burning people at the stake and burning lineages and stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought she was cool, like fighting for her power, for her her title. I guess I loved it. But I did get annoyed every time she asked someone to bend the knee. But the way she said it bothered me.
Well, she asked Jon, earlier in that season, where she's like, pretty much bend the knee, and he's like, I'm the king of the North, kind of thing. He held his ground against her too, and I mean, any other person, I think she would have like murdered them, or made an example.
Cute, and she's like, okay, we'll see.
And she even mentions how young he is. So what's the age difference there? I know in the books it's a lot different.
No, they're very close to age.
No, she did say I'm older than him in the books. Like he's supposed to be 15 when the show starts. Like, but they've of course in the series of the show they've kind of accelerated that. So I think I don't know. He's probably around 18, 20 maybe.
Yeah.
Now in the show, would you say? And then she's probably in her late 20s, 30s, probably. What?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
What, Jim?
I don't know. I didn't say anything. So then, so that makes it wrong, Claudia.
Whatever, Jim. Whatever. It's love.
All right. So then, no, I meant between them.
She's his aunt.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
So yeah, you had all that cool stuff with the whole tension between them, and they were building this kind of love story between them, obviously.
What did you guys think about the hints for her getting pregnant? There's theories going around.
Well, this is the thing with this season. It is different because I felt that it was a fan servicey. It felt more like TV, like typical TV than what Game of Thrones used to be.
Yeah.
Like everybody is safe, pretty much. Every character is safe. We haven't had a death except for Littlefinger. A major death, like not one of the main cast.
I thought Jaime was gonna die.
Oh, Jaime! I thought he was gonna die in the last episode. Or when they like threw fire at him, he could have died there.
I thought he was gonna die this season.
Yeah.
Like my predictions for this season were at the beginning, like before it started, were either it was either Sansa or Jaime that was gonna die. Neither of them died.
Yeah. Did you have any? Who did you think was gonna die?
I mean, Jaime wanted to die. After that scene where the loot train, and he comes out of the water, and they have some weird conversation with Ron, the other guy,
Ron.
And he says like, I should have died in there, then go back to my sister, because he kind of expected the fate, like that, making an argument to Cersei that there's no way they're gonna win the war. He might as well just die.
Death or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he made like a weird comment there where he didn't want to continue living. So I don't
think it was like a continued living more
like,
than it was like he accepts.
I'm screwed, yeah.
No, it was more like that he accepts his fate. Like whatever's gonna happen. I think was how I interpreted that scene.
Yeah. So yeah, again, it felt fan servicey. Stuff happened that we want to happen, but that's not what Game of Thrones has given us in the end. We wanted what was it? The Red Viper. The Red Viper, is that what they called him? The guy who got his skull crushed.
Oh yeah,
when he fought the mountain, we all were like, "Yeah, he's doing great, and he's winning. He's gonna kill the mountain, and Tyrion's gonna get free." Yeah, him.
Oberyn. I forgot his last name.
So them from Dawn, like that kind of stuff. Like we don't get what we want in this show, and we've been getting what we want in this show, which feels so weird. Maybe that's the thing. Like maybe that's the whole. And again, it's past the show, it's past the books, and it's going to be completely different. I think when the books actually do, if he does finish the books. Yeah, I mean, that's people are afraid he's gonna
be rude. Well, the thing is, I read that he already told the TV producers
where he was gonna go,
how he wanted it to end.
Yeah,
the way they fill it out or whatever they put in
It's up to
between
them.
is like up to them. But like he knows his ending already, and that's how he wants it to end.
Yeah.
Which is
He has-
which means he already has
he
in
has an
mind
idea.
who's gonna like rule the Iron Throne, and that's so scary.
Yeah, I mean, we can go into that. Before we get there, do you think anything else, any other favorite parts that you can think of?
I love seeing Cersei and Tyrion
Mm-hmm.
together this
Yeah.
season, like finally not confronting each other, like talking to each other. Because I mean, we already know that Cersei like hates his guts, like she wants him to die. And when he went up to her and they had that whole conversation in her place, and he's like, "Kill me, just kill me now," and she couldn't do it. And I'm like, "Heck yeah, Cersei, you have a little bit of a heart."
Yeah, she still loves him.
Yeah, it's good.
I love the reveal. Like, I mean, the official reveal that Jon Snow is like the heir to the Iron Throne, as you know, they're having to throne and everything. But like, just the wedding and all that stuff. Like, I love that moment at
The
the
episode
end.
2
I'm like,
wedding.
"No,
I didn't like the way it was, the way like we were told, like the
While
way
they were doing it,
No, no, the way
I didn't mean it that way. but-
Bran, the three-eyed raven, started like his pieces or whatever,
Yeah.
and then what's
Sam.
his name? Sam came,
Samwise
and
Gamgee.
he didn't even give Gilly
Samwise,
like
yeah.
credit. She was the one who found
That's
it,
true.
and I don't know, like just the way like they like just how convenient, like they haven't spoken to each other in forever, and they're just gonna give each other all this information. I didn't like the way it was.
I
Like
forgot
felt
they
like it could have
met.
been more
I
natural.
honestly-
It was fast.
It could have been more natural than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So we did get that reveal, and like you were saying, it was during when they finally hooked up on the boat, and that's the whole reason they went on the boat together.
I know. She's like,
One of
we'll
the-
go on the boat when she was like on the
They
table.
knew, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
they
mean,
were
that was
planning
so
it.
obvious.
Yeah. And then Tyrion was like, and he knew what was happening,
Yeah.
and he was just out there. I don't know. It's crazy. So yeah, you were mentioning that they were alluding to her getting pregnant, not being able to have kids.
They
So
mentioned it several times.
she's gonna end up pregnant. I mean, the way the show's going, she's gonna end up pregnant because even John says, "Don't believe like what an old, that lady is. She a reliable source?" That's
Yeah.
what she said. So, I think they're heading that way. That she will become pregnant. Somebody else mentioned it. Yeah. So you have her pregnant. You have Cersei pregnant, possibly.
Puros hormones, pregnant hormones in
Yeah.
the next season.
It could be pulling like what's her name, Kelly from The Office, where she's like, "I'm pregnant," and she's like, "No."
Yeah, that was so good.
So who knows? She might be using that to, but she was pretty happy when she found out, I guess. Yeah. So you had a lot of cool things like that.
Do you think the reason Tyrion at the end when he saw them together, why do you think it was that he made that face or that he hesitated? Do you think it was because he has feelings for her and that's like it bothered him, or do you think it's because he felt guilty that maybe he like convoluted or like he made a deal with Cersei and that's why she came out at the very end and was like, "Oh, we're gonna give you everything that you want"?
Yeah, maybe Tyrion. I mean, who knows if Tyrion like made a deal with Cersei? I mean, that's another thing. You never know. You don't know what they talked about after that. He said he was very sorry about. He loved his nephew.
Yeah.
I mean, his nephew and his niece. Well,
We don't
the
know
two
what
of them.
happened.
But you don't know.
She
He might
just
have
came out
felt
all of a
guilty.
sudden and was just like, "Oh, we're gonna give you all our men. It's gonna be perfect. We're all gonna fight together like BFFs."
Yeah.
And he brought up succession to her, like
He did. He
several
says, "Hey, we have to
times.
think about after you're gone."
That he could be like, "Hey, your kids could be the heir." And then that convo that Cersei had with Jaime, like our kids will rule Westeros.
Well, yeah. Earlier in
After.
that season, she had told him, "I'm queen. Who cares? We'll be open about us
Oh
raising."
yeah, when they knocked it and a lady was
Yeah.
there, and then he's like, "They'll see me," and she's like, "I don't care. I'm the queen." Oh, this chick.
Yeah. So like she's gotten to that point where she doesn't care. She wants to get what she wants. Well, she always has been that way. But yeah, some other things. So we had some characters in here. I had like this list. I called it the Thronies. Yeah. So
or Game of Thrones awards.
Yeah.
Not
So
related to the Tonys.
not at all. Or the Dundies.
Or the
as I was
Dundies.
thinking. But there was a couple moments. I had my dumb moment award. Did you have a dumb moment of the season? I have one here, very specific.
I had several of them,
Okay.
but I don't know. The one that's coming to my brain right now is when Daenerys arrived. Is that what you had written down?
No. When
Okay,
Daenerys
I don't
arrived-
remember what you wrote down.
What do you mean?
When Daenerys arrived on the dragon and Jon was reaching out and then he's like, I'm gonna go fight some more.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll be right back. Check this out. Ching, ching.
why was that necessary?
And your
dummy?
dragon
Like,
died.
he just wanted to, and then her dragon. Oh, no, that was dumb.
Dumb. How about you?
My dumb moment would be when the scorpion, Braun, is shooting this freaking scorpion, and she sees him shooting the scorpion, and she's like, "You're not gonna get me," and she flies
hell no.
the dragon back, and he shoots the freaking thing right at the dragon. Like, dude, you saw him go around, blow it from behind.
Yeah.
I was thinking of all the ways I could have flown the dragon around that scorpion, and like, dude, by the time he shoots it and sets it up, like, Dracarys.
Okay.
It'll be a little like dragon face or something.
Yeah.
So there was again with the dragons with that image when they shot it in the air in the beyond the wall, and it started just bleeding the blood. I forgot to mention that. Thought that was like really like graphic and sad. That was just like it looked like the smoke, but it was all blood. Sorry, bringing it back.
I know.
Yeah. So my dumb moment.
Oh, we didn't even talk about. Oh, never mind. Keep going.
For it. No, go for it.
The ice. No, he didn't melt it. He iced it. The
new
wall.
dragon?
The wall that's
dragon.
been there for thousands and thousands of years.
I thought it was like a hotter fire. Like, you know, like fire, you have like butane and it's like a blue flame.
What I also want to know is how he was flying if he had holes in his wings. Like, what?
Like physics, I mean, the magic stuff, and that there's dragons that
fine,
exist.
But like, he had a bunch of holes in his wings, and
the dead comes back to life. None of that.
Like, what?
Where did the holes come from, though, Mel? Like,
because it looks cool.
He was
That's
shot, but with one sphere. Where did the holes come from?
Because it looks cool.
Cool.
I would have drawn it that way if I could draw.
But how would it fly?
You have to draw. You have to fly more. You have to use more energy.
He wasn't using more energy
before, Jimmy.
I've been, yeah. I'm a dragon.
You have to use more energy.
You do. If you have like a hole in your wing, you just have to flap more.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. It's like if I had a piece of paper and it had a hole in it, and I was trying to give you air, it wouldn't give you air because there's a hole in it.
Well, there's several holes, but you'd have to do it faster to get more air. See, like, what gives you more air? Experiment. Science. Anyway, so yeah, a good point, I guess. That's another dumb moment, right?
It was extremely dumb.
Okay, so
in like on the side of like the graphic design artist who punctured holes in his
dragons
wings.
with holes look cool on their wing.
Yeah, like as a model, but like in terms of physics,
not possible.
that didn't make sense.
Another dumb moment that I thought was kind of that cringe-worthy thing when Theon's getting his butt kicked in the last episode and getting hit in his private area, and then he gets like superpowers and then kills a man. You know, like that was my dumb moment of the show
because that he was being kicked, or like his superpowers that came.
The whole thing that where he got kicked and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't feel anything," and the guy kicks him like
so
3 more
weird.
times,
I know.
and then he's like, "Yeah," and then he pulls him down, and, like punches him and beats him up.
As a man, how did that scene feel for you?
It's
like
fine.
as a woman, I was like, oh. But like as a man,
Nothing.
like holy moly, he got hit 3 times.
Nothing. I was laughing. I was like, why is this stupid Theon? I knew exactly what they were doing in the show. I was like, they're going to go for this dumb thing where, they're doing it. Yeah. Dang it.
That scene Theon had with Jon about like, you're a Greyjoy and a Stark. Oh, it was so good. I loved it. I thought it was such a powerful scene.
Now later on, it's
going to be Stark. He's a Stark and a Targaryen.
Yeah, it's
going to be so. I loved it. That was such a good. Like you saw him being. That was a good leader. Like he didn't. He's like, I forgive you for the things that I can forgive you for, because obviously there's stuff that he couldn't.
He can't. Yeah.
But like him being an adult about it, I would have been like, "Oh, get away from me, peasant! Like, what are you doing? Like, don't touch me! I'm mad at you."
Yeah,
but,
that was
he
very
was
strong.
Being a leader. Like,
I mean,
that's
they were
him
brothers. They grew up as brothers, and then him telling them that is what
you were more of a Stark. Yeah,
than a Greyjoy, but you're both. You know that whole thing. It was super cool. Really powerful.
Really good.
Another award. So what do you think? Who gets the award for that? I think Theon. I don't know. That's my personally. Or we give 3 awards.
I think Jon was pretty dumb.
Fine, we'll give it to Jon. Okay, here's mine. It's kind of specific. A gross moment, but kind of romantic.
I mean, I think we all know. I think we all know where that award goes to.
So the relations between Dany and Jon.
Well, there's also between Cersei and Jaime.
Sure, but that's been going on. Like,
that's true.
Funny thing about
episode 1.
funny thing about that, like when we first saw Cersei and Jaime, we were like, "Oh, gross, incest," and then when we
And
see
now we're like, I
Danny
know.
and John, we're like,
It's okay.
"Ooh."
Oh, it's been happening for a while.
It's
It's been building
wow.
up. It's fine.
Finally,
I
like,
know.
I think we've had people in our office that have even mentioned they're like, who cares if he's your nephew?
Yeah.
Hey, that butt scene at the end, that butt scene was like worth the whole build up.
Wow. There's the internet for that.
Rated
too.
R. Okay. Next award.
Next award. Yeah. So then, some weird aunt and nephew relations, and I put a throw up emoji in there. Just tell me that.
They don't know.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? So we can build up on that. So what do you think? Oh, we'll go into it later. Okay. Remind me.
We should talk about it now. We're gonna
Okay.
forget.
Let's talk about it now. So
When he finds out when he's a Targaryen.
Yeah. When he finds out, what do you think's gonna happen with this moment?
I'm so scared.
If she's pregnant already?
Yeah, but not even that. Like, she has been fighting for the Iron Throne.
And he already bent his knee.
He bent the knee to her in allegiance, and then you find out, hey, Bran and
You're the
Sam,
actual heir to the throne.
you're like, oh yeah, you're actually Aegon Targaryen.
Just marry her, dude. She'll still be queen.
She doesn't want that. She wants will
wants
be the
to
leader.
be the leader.
I mean, it would have made sense if it was like it was like falling. The pieces were falling. Like if
Yeah.
she would have been the leader,
Yeah,
the
the
heir to the Iron Throne, and then like they got married or whatever, and they had their lineage of kids. Like it would have made sense. Everything would have fit like
Perfect.
a perfect bow. But now this throws a wrench. This throws a sword to the dragon. Like
Yeah.
it is
Spear to the
a
dragon.
spear to the dragon. Yeah. I think. I feel like she's gonna find out first, and she's not gonna tell him. I think, and then he's gonna find out, and he's gonna get mad, or as mad as John can get.
Wow. Yeah.
I feel, or I'm afraid that she is gonna get pregnant. John's gonna get killed, and her baby's gonna be the heir to the Iron Throne.
That would be a good bow. Actually, that's bittersweet because
yeah, but
I mean,
is
they
it Game
couldn't.
of Thrones?
It is a happy ending
But
for
Game
some.
of Thrones doesn't do happy ending.
But you get
Jon
John that
Snow
dies.
still
Yeah. So it would be the perfect where they're fighting, and then like there's this
But
thing where
how would it
where
fast
like
forward?
he saves her from something, and then like the tornado picks him up. Like
Tornado.
I was like Man of Steel, the Pa Kent. Anyway, I don't know why that was in my head, but like that kind of thing where maybe he sacrifices while they're fighting on opposite sides after they take care of the White Walkers or whatever, or White Walkers come and kill everybody. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, that's a good point right there. Good prediction.
They've been building on the pregnancy, and he's the heir, and she's a Targaryen, little baby Targaryen.
And I've heard that they have a history of
Of incest.
Oh,
incesting,
they do.
The
Yeah, the
keeping-
Targaryens.
as well as the Lannisters, right?
Mhm.
So there's this whole thing there. It's not new, but I don't think it's in John's character to be like, I can't deal with this unless John says, I don't want to be leader. He's always said, I don't want to be this leader, but they've always put him in that position.
But she does respect him, though. Like
Yeah.
I would hate to see her hate him, like because he's the heir when she knows that
But
he's
that's
noble.
That's
and
in her character, though.
Yeah.
It's not in his character.
Yeah.
It's in her character.
Unless another theory, I mean, possibly is that Danny dies. And
she like her baby
I
comes
think
out.
like everyone would revolt if she died.
you think so?
Like,
I thought honestly before we got to the season, I thought she was gonna like totally go bad.
you did say that. I remember you
Yeah,
saying
that she was getting too arrogant. She wanted all this power now, and then she was gonna go bad. And then it's gonna be, oh man, this whole thing's coming. I mean, she has burned, like you said, the lineages of families, killing families, except for Sam. That was his dad and his brother. So he's still around, but that whole thing where she's already burning people and you're giving this image, hey, remember your dad did this too, you probably don't want to do this,
I never had an issue. I never thought she was gonna go bad. People just thought that because she wanted power and she was a female.
I don't think so. I think more her character, because she was like fighting against the odds, but then when she started like doing things that I think just for the power, it got too much. Like, you have all this, but she wanted the rights to get her the throne, like her family name, right? But that's the only thing as a character. I mean, it could have been a guy who's like, oh, this guy's getting too arrogant. I think, I mean, personally, that's what I thought.
I feel she did do a lot of stuff this season, but it was stuff that was necessary. Like, had she not stepped in and done what she did, like, I mean, she would not have. She would completely lose. You know, she burned like the loot train episode, and then she went in for the freaking White Walkers, and like she stepped in when she was needed, and she kind of she burned the lineages that you're talking about. But it was for respect. They wouldn't bend the knee. I mean, she has to make a statement.
She had to make a statement.
It wasn't like she was cruel. She gave them the option. Yeah. They didn't bend the knee, so she burned them. I mean, she has to set her foot down. That's what women have to do. You have to. If you don't.
I don't think
that's what I'm saying. Is that like if it was a guy in his position, this wouldn't even be a conversation. Yeah. Like it would just be like, oh, like he just asserting his power, like his male dominance or whatever. But it's because she's a female. I think that it's a conversation that people are having, like a discussion.
Yeah. And actually, like Ned Stark did the same thing. When the wildlings came into their land, somebody abandoned a certain post or something like in the first season, he beheaded them because it was his duty. That's what he had to do. Yeah. And he gave them the option to do something, to say something, and he gave them their words, but then he still had to cut it. So I don't see anything wrong with that. But just as a character, I think getting the arrogance was a thing that she was getting, that I was afraid she was going to make that turn, like a Walter White turn or something.
I love all the female characters in this season. I mean, Cersei's super evil, and you can still hate her, but like the fact that you have like there was a couple
she's
scenes
still in power though.
I know,
like that's my thing is that like the females in power. Awesome. Like you have Cersei, yes, she's evil, but she's in power. Sansa, she's Lady of Winterfell. Like Daenerys is. Everyone adores her, So like you have all these like strong women who came from. I mean, all these women had been raped, Like all these women came from horrible pasts, and now they're where they're at. Like I love seeing that part.
I also love that scene where they're in the dragon room, the dragon meeting
waiting
room,
for them,
and all the women are there, like the Dorne lady, Yara, and then you have Daenerys and Olenna, and I was like, holy moly, this is like history right here. Like how freaking cool that
you mean that you have all the female
powerful women in one room, like. And in the end of the episode, like they discuss that, like
it's like science fiction. Like you have to see it in the show. It's fantasy.
Look, I get a little chills.
Yeah, we have to see it in the TV show for it to be real.
What is cool is, I mean, at the beginning you did have men of power, and now you have women of power.
It's the women.
Oh no, let me finish the second part. You had men of power when you started the show. It was all men,
and women were like in brothels and.
That's true. They were portrayed in brothels a lot of the first time.
Sexual objects for the first like. 5-6 seasons.
Yeah, probably like those early on seasons, and then it switched completely where Cersei, she even said in earlier seasons, she's like, I would have been, if I were a man,
if I was just born the wrong gender.
Yeah. She would have been in power, but she got there being as a woman. So.
And Arya's transformation too, like you remember the first seasons when she's trying to be who she is, fighting, and she can't because it's against the rules. It's against the rules.
A lady,
And when she talks to Sansa as they're standing there, and she tells her, "I know you've always wanted to be a lady, and I could have never been like a lady, as good a lady as you are now, because I wanted to do what I'm doing now." And it's crazy, like now that the way things are, she can be who she is, and it's not looked down at like how.
Well, like even her dad was supportive. Like her dad was supportive too. Ned would like he hired that sword fighting teacher in the first season, and then like
the little toothpick.
Yeah, he let her shoot bow, and then Jon as well. Like gave her needle. Whatever happened to needle?
I don't know. She hid it under a rock.
Yeah, she did. She
did she ever go back for
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Yeah, but
I love that.
Yeah, so there was some cool stuff right there. Here is another one. Most Evil Moment Award of the season. What do you think?
Well, okay, we're hearing these questions for the first time. I feel like you should. I feel like you should say yours while I think.
Percolate.
The whole season. Right, the most evil moment.
Yeah, for me, it was when Cersei chained up the queen from Dawn and poisoned the daughter.
That was your most evil moment?
That was pretty evil. She kissed the daughter. She said
it was a good revenge.
It was good revenge. Yeah, they did kill an innocent, which was her Cersei's daughter.
I didn't see that as evil at all. Like it was revenge for what she did.
The way she did it, she could have just killed her daughter. She said, "No, I'm going to chain you here, and I'm going to leave this light on, and I'm going to force feed you every day,
so you see.
So you see her rotting in front of your face, and for as long as you live, I'm going to relight that thing. I'm going to have somebody relight it every day, so you always see her, and chained, and you can't do anything. Imagine that." Imagine like being chained up and just being chained and not being able to like do this, You like that? Okay.
No,
So-
just like a power move. Like, I mean,
It's still pretty evil, though.
It's pretty dark. Like,
It's
I
pretty
mean,
evil.
like, who thinks of that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hard way. Like, she suffered. She lost her daughter, and so she wants the person who took that from her to suffer the way she did. You know, because if it was a dude, he'd be like, off with your head. Like, yeah, you don't get to suffer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And even Jamie talked Cersei out of killing the what's her name, the Tyrell lady. Like he's like, just take the poison.
Yeah.
Take the poison. I talked to Cersei. Is it painful? No. All right. You know, like he had that sympathy.
Like her thing at the very end, like,
he's like, oh,
tell,
yeah.
I want Cersei to know it was me.
Yeah.
It was so
He's like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I
So
should kill
good.
you. Cersei's gonna kill me now. That was.
it was good.
That was good. Anything come up in your brain?
Oh, did you? The most evil for you? Oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know because I mean I hated the freaking White Walk, the king, the Night King when he shot the dragon.
When he killed the dragon?
That I hated that part. Like I knew it was coming, but I hated it when he captures her and then Theon jumps off the ship.
Yeah, well, I
Stupid
don't think
Theon.
that was evil. I think it was just
Cowardly.
It was just cowardice. Like
Yeah.
it was ridiculous that he did that. Like that's
Yeah,
his
Theon has
sister.
not been redeeming himself at all. Like he did, like one time when he helped somebody escape, when he helped
Well, Sansa.
Sansa escape. But after that, like he's just been on this down. Like so, hopefully, I mean, I know they want him to redeem himself, but we'll see if he does.
No.
So anything else for evil? Anything you can think of?
I don't know. You didn't give us
I
time
know.
to think these through. No, I can't think of. I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, well, if you do think of it, bring it up. Coolest moment in this season. I know for me it was the whole when Arya and Sansa, Littlefinger,
Me too.
they pretty much kill him right then and there, or outsmart him and trick him,
I like.
or the cool lighting of the sword.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, I like when the dragons like first came
Oh,
out.
yeah, you
onto
mentioned that. That was your first thing that you said.
The Loot Train episode. That one was like finally, and then the Rocky like just coming in real fast. And I also liked when Dany saved the day in the scene where they're stuck and surrounded by the White Walkers. Like that was legit. I was like, yes, burn them all.
That
Of
was
course,
cool.
I mean it doesn't end happy, but
Yeah, so I think all of those scenes are really cool with the dragons. But again, I saw that the dragons played a huge role in this season. So like, heck yeah, they were freaking cool. But as far as like cool, like I did not see coming. It was unexpected. Was that scene with
Littlefinger.
Littlefinger? I did not see that coming at all, and that's why I think it was for me. It was the coolest part.
also Uncle John, Uncle Jen,
Benjen.
Uncle
Benjen.
Benjen, when he comes up out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how the heck are they gonna get Jon Snow out of this mess? And then he comes out. Oh man, that was cool.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. It was like, it was like a TV moment.
It was.
That's what I
It wouldn't have happened in real life.
It would have happened like season 1. Ned would have died, and that's it. You know, John would have died, and that's it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, then you had another one that I had was like a coolest death. And for me, that was when the dragon died. I mean, it was very sad, but it was coolest.
That was not
Because
like
it was
literally because he
cold.
turned into his eyes
Nice
turned blue.
dragon. Yeah.
I would say the Littlefinger death is the coolest death.
That one too.
Me too,
Deserve that.
because Arya was the one that murdered him.
Yeah, I had a bunch of those for Littlefinger death. I had They Had It Coming award, which was a Littlefinger.
Littlefinger.
Yeah, we can all agree on that one. I had a cool one. Best buddy cop moment.
What does that mean?
You know, like those movies where you have like this character and another character, and
Oh, I
like
know
a literal
which
buddy.
one.
Which one?
Like the scene where they're talking with the ginger and
Yeah,
then he's like
exactly.
they're
Gingers
talking
are
about Lady
beautiful.
Brienne.
Yeah.
The Hound
I
and
have
the
a lady.
redheaded
I have a
one.
lady waiting for me.
That was
She's
funny.
as tall as you are. Oh, he was so funny.
Yeah, it was super cool. That was one of my favorite things there.
Back to the gross one.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where Sam Tarley's taking off the nasty things
Oh,
from
yeah, that was
Jorah.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was super disgusting.
You think so?
I didn't think it was gross because it wasn't slimy.
What
It
do you
was
think
just like it was.
Not like that.
Pussy is what she meant. She meant to say pussy.
that like the closest.
Oh my god!
This is the most rated R episode we've had.
I know. Well, it's Game of Thrones, so it.
Okay.
The pus was coming out of the nasty little like it was
Grayscale.
super disgusting.
Yeah, Jorah.
Jorah.
Yeah, son of Jorel. Yeah, Jorah. or Jorah.
Jorah. Yeah.
Yeah, they took the grayscale out. That was pretty gross. I remember. I mean, I don't get grossed out with that. Obviously, MREs.
Jim, show me
So they had. Yeah, all that stuff was pretty graphic. I know a lot of people had issues with that.
Really?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
That
I
and
think
like
it was
when he's
gross.
emptying
But-
the toilet.
Oh, that was pretty
That
gross.
was gross. But
Like,
just because you
the
saw his
repetition.
reaction, like you could smell it. It was
Yeah.
gross.
Is it the repetition of doing that? Oh,
Can
that's
you
crazy.
imagine? It's gross.
Yeah. So
It took 3 days for them to do that montage.
really,
They
Of
could
him
just
doing
repeat
that?
shots.
I know. Let's just do that. Reverse them and then do it like
Yeah.
that.
I was like, oh man, it does take forever.
It does. So there's also the most unrealistic thing in Game of Thrones award. I know you had a couple of them, but I had mine.
I have a lot. I mean, I have.
You had the holes in the wings of a dead zombie dragon.
By that.
Okay. Mine were the teleporting ravens.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And fast traveling is now a thing on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So back in the day, we
It
talked about it.
changed.
Like in a whole season, it took one person to get from Winterfell, like 3 episodes to get to like King's Landing or
Yeah.
something,
And now it's like,
And I was like, boom, same episode.
Like, go tell Daenerys we need her dragons.
It's like
Oh,
run to the wall, and then that dude ran.
run. That would have taken
in the snow.
10 years.
Yeah.
Like what? That
How
was
far were they? So they ran to the wall. He barely
because you
made
saw
it.
them like walking as a pack for like
Mhm.
2 days, like
Yeah.
camping out and stuff, and this guy like runs in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
And it's this guy that's never been to the north before.
Like he found his
said
way.
it.
He like knows where to go.
you
and
know
then
who he is? Do you remember who he is?
He's a bastard. He's the son of
Gendry.
Robert Baratheon.
Baratheon. Yeah. So it's super cool. He was-
Gendry.
Gendry.
Is
Gendry.
it
Gendry.
Gen or Jen?
I knew it was Gendry. I thought it was Gendry. Gendry? No, Gendry.
Gendry.
Gendry. So he's Baratheon. So he ran all the way back. He sent a raven. Raven flew all the way to Dragonstone, right? That's what it's called.
And then
Daenerys goes.
she came.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
let's go.
I'm on my way, friends.
Flew all over dragons back, and then like saved them right before they were gonna cross the solid ice. So
Ridiculous.
yeah, that was a little unrealistic. I mean, in a show where there's Walking Dead and dragons. So, but other than that, I think that was just kind of funny. The
Yeah,
travel
that
in the
was real
system. I mean, also in the last season, where like Theon steals all the ships and they build one in like a day. Like they build a fleet of ships. Euron. Remember, they stole the
No.
whole fleet in season 6, or I think where they stole the whole fleet, picked up Daenerys,
Oh yeah.
Theon and his sister, and then they're on that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And then like Euron builds a whole fleet again, like even bigger. It's like, how'd you do that in like a day,
And
10
And
days?
goes and burns all their ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck? Yeah, it was kind of weird.
But don't burn them, dude. Kill the people and keep the ships. Like
You're
I
easy
was
with
thinking
killing
of
people.
recycling like the ships, like
Yeah.
all the waste. I'm like, dude, just kill the people and keep the ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the most unrealistic thing, I think.
I felt it was the dragon melting the wall or
I-
icing it or whatever.
I think it was fire. I saw it as fire. It was blue, but you also have blue flame.
Well, I know that's the hottest flame, but
Yeah.
I don't think
You have
so.
blue and white flame as well.
Like, why would his? No, that doesn't make sense.
'Cause it
It
looks
was
super cool.
Ice.
Yeah.
It was ice.
It wasn't ice. It's
Well,
fire.
it wasn't fire.
Ice doesn't melt.
Exactly.
ice.
That point. Hence her thing of being most unrealistic.
It's blue. It was blue flame. All right, let's see. What do you think? Was it blue flame or was it ice?
I don't think that it's ice, but I also don't think that it's fire.
Just magic stuff.
I think it's something new that the ice that they create, like
That
a
Elsa, the ice
periodic
cream.
table of
Fire
like,
elements.
Game of Thrones elements.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's unobtainium of the Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are your predictions? I know we kind of went into that. What are your predictions for how does this end?
I don't know. Somebody's gonna rule the Iron Throne, so
Ultimately, who do you think is going to rule the Iron Throne?
Who do you
think
who
is
do
going to
you
rule?
want and who do you think?
Who do I
they're different.
want? I don't know.
Because you could want Jon Snow to rule, but you think Daenerys is gonna get it. So like, where do you?
I think John came back for a reason, so maybe he'll fulfill that. Like maybe it's just to stop the White Walkers, and then that's it. Like his role is done. So I don't think he makes it. At the end, he might get I like that theory a lot. I mean, he might get her pregnant, and at that point, there's no choice. She's pregnant with his child. And then she rules. I mean, that's the way it was set up from the first season, I think. But then again, they could twist it and then turn it where she dies and Jon lives. So
you think Cersei has a single like fighting chance?
dude,
like, she's not even in your.
Dude, if Cersei could pull it off, Cersei could be the one to screw everybody over, and now she just rules again. I mean, she totally could do it. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But she could totally pull it off.
She's alone though. Everybody hates her.
Except she does have Euron's army though, and then the bank. She has like the golden
she
bank
talked
or
about
whatever.
that scene with Jamie. She's like, you ignored him. You said it was boring talking about the money. She's like, but I listened. I paid attention. I know how important it is. I'm like, heck yeah, dude. Like, guys take everything for granted. Like they just assume that it's given. Yes, it's given to them. The throne. They're the heirs. It's given to them. They have the power.
Well, not Jamie. He could never be the heir because he gave it up when he was. They made him. Remember, like
when he was
the king guard.
Night's Watch.
No, the King's Guard. Once you become the King's Guard, he gave up all his. He can never own property. He can never own. He can never be married. Pretty much like to that law. I think
it's kind of like the King's Watch.
It's kind of like the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch. Yeah. So he was the King's Guard. He gave all that up, so he had no stake in that. And then Tyrion, his dad hated him. So maybe it was like a power ploy when the Targaryen became king. He made him that. Therefore, your son, I'm appointing them because I'm the king. Therefore, he can never like turn his back on me. I don't know. That's what, and they called him the Kingslayer when he killed the Targaryen king.
That's a good theory.
So I don't know. I don't know if that was. I forgot what we're talking about. But yeah, you're right. He was not. Except Tyrion did listen. He knew like he was like his dad. It's just his dad hated him, I think. But Cersei's super. I mean, she's made it this far. Everything she's done.
And she's pregnant. She has even more motivation now.
Yeah, protect her own, survive her child. Make sure she survives. Her kid survives.
That's crazy.
How about you? What do you think? Did you have? I know you mentioned your theory, but
I mean, I would want Daenerys to rule. Besides, next to Jon Snow and their little baby, super cute.
Until his end.
And live happily ever after. But realistically, it's probably not gonna happen. So
you could overlook the whole aunt-nephew thing.
I can. Because it's in their history. Like, that's how they keep their
And that makes it okay?
going. It doesn't make it okay, but it's like, it's in their lineage. Like, sure. I mean, what better way than to keep it pure than with little Targaryen?
Wow.
And,
/ Stark.
I mean,
it's only like
they've both been through so much, Jon
just
Snow,
let them have a happy ending.
Bastard, and Daenerys.
Would you tell them?
I know.
Oh, it was.
Like Daenerys being oppressed since she was with her brother, and like they both deserve it in their own way. Like either one of them, if they end up as like the rulers of the throne, like I'd be happy. Either one of them. Of course, I'm a woman and I'm rooting for Daenerys, but either one of them deserves it. Like they've both been through hell and back, and I'd be happy if any of them got it. If Cersei gets it, I'll be pissed. It's gonna be like one of those election moments. Like, no!
Election
I'll
moments.
cry.
That's pretty good.
For a weekend. I'll cry for a weekend.
How about you, Melinda?
I want Daenerys to rule.
Mm-hmm.
She started from nothing. Like she was given
Being
away.
sold,
She was she was sold to the Dothraki.
Mm-hmm.
She was married against her will. She started from nothing, but then little by little she started gaining people. She got power. She got people to follow her like because they wanted to. And you hear that all the time. People saying like, "Why are you following her? Like, why are you with her?" And they're like, "Because I want to. Like, she deserves it. Like, she wants what's best for us."
She's a good leader.
She's a good leader,
she knows how to do it,
and I mean, if you saw her like in episode 1 to like where she is, like she's changed so much and she's gotten so much done. Like between of all the characters, she's the one that's accomplished the most. Like if you like if you list out everything that she's been able to accomplish, like no doubt she's the one that's done the most. Also, she has dragons. So I'd want her to rule. Who I think is going to rule, I don't know yet. And I don't have a guess.
A prediction.
I don't have a
like
prediction. I don't know. Anything can happen. Whether there's like a third, like bloop, like oh, I'm in the running now. Like we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But as far as what I'd want Daenerys to rule.
Okay. And who do you think's who's gonna survive this? Who will live? Who's gonna survive? Okay, Sansa. Is she gonna survive? What do you think? Just yes, no, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Arya.
We've lost a lot of Starks. Yes.
Okay, Arya.
Yes.
I don't know. She's really cool, and cool people don't make it often.
I'm gonna say
I don't know. My inclination is to no,
Yeah.
but I want to say yes, like because I want her to survive.
yeah. All right. I'll say no. We'll say Arya no. We should probably write this down. Man, it's like 2 years from now.
2019.
Who do we
Yeah.
got? Okay, John. I'm gonna say no
He's stupid. I mean, he's
Pretty
I mean, he
because of
Yeah.
his loyalty. His what is it? His
stupid
loyalty.
heroism.
Not his heroism. His
Like morality.
morale. They're like, you could lie. It's great that you're like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
but you could
he's
lie every
like,
once in a while.
nah.
He's like, no,
I love it.
I'm
like,
noble, like his dad. He's like his dad.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, once
not
he
his
finds
baby
out,
uncle, his not his
uncle, that's right.
biological dad. Yeah.
So you say he dies. We all agree he's gonna die.
He could die.
He could die.
There's
Well,
a
what do you think?
possibility.
Yes or no?
I don't want him to die, but he's knowing his history of dumb decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He could die. He could sacrifice himself. He could make a sacrifice.
Okay. So you said
I don't know. The
Okay.
thing is, he was brought back from the dead,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I would think like that they would just kill him off. But I do believe that he would sacrifice himself
yeah,
for
probably
somebody.
a sacrifice.
So he may sacrifice himself for somebody.
Yeah.
I
Or
think.
his baby, if she's pregnant.
Oh, I was thinking for like against like Arya or like some like a
Something like
family,
that.
like family. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the kid.
All right. Cersei.
I want her to die. She's done so many crazy things.
Probably die.
I think she's alive. I think she's gonna stay alive.
I think she'll
I think
die.
she's gonna turn into like a hobo, like
That'd be
into
karma.
the gutters. Of,
Just like like that'd be a worse fate for her.
yeah,
Like if no
her,
power, but she
no-
lives.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
True.
Jamie's gonna die.
Yeah, Jamie. Okay, Jamie dies,
I think so.
or Jamie kills Cersei.
Maybe that's also a possibility
Theory,
twist
yeah.
because of that vision or that prophecy that she has.
Mm-hmm. Kingslayer.
Mhm.
He's the Kingslayer. Who else do we have? Who else?
The three-eyed raven.
Bran.
Bran.
I think he's still alive. He's just there.
He's a
He's
weirdo.
gonna continue to do nothing.
Yeah, continue to do nothing. Sam.
No, I mean,
probably
I don't even
alive.
think- Yeah,
Yeah, he's like second tier.
Like
All right. What else? Who else we got?
Theon.
Theon.
Daenerys, you have to
Probably die. Yeah, saving her.
Oh, okay.
Theon.
Theon?
Yeah.
Nah, I think he'll survive. I think also like he's not like a major, at least not this season, or he's not like a major enough role to like warrant like an on-screen killing.
I think he'll die. And then his sister will live or something like that. Or he'll save her and stay behind and he'll
I think
die.
like he'll
That'll be his
I think-
ultimate sacrifice
no,
if it
I
goes
think
that way.
maybe like his sister will die and like he'll finally like it'll be like that thing that we've been waiting for him, like for him to
Redeem himself.
yeah, that
Yeah.
I was gonna say redeem
Yeah.
himself. I think maybe that'll happen and he'll like stay alive.
I think he'll probably save his sister. He'll die this noble death or whatever, and then his sister will, and then Euron will die, and then she is the heir to the throne.
That's another like
Yeah.
woman in power that
Yeah.
I didn't mention.
Yeah, so
Yara.
she's still captured. We'll see where she's at. What's her name?
Yara.
Yara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Yara. Who else do we have? I guess we can Davos.
Sir Davos.
Davos.
I thought you
He's
were gonna
cool.
say Tyrion.
Oh yeah, Tyrion, big one too.
I think he survives.
He probably lives. Yeah, he survives.
He's pretty. I mean,
Unless
I'm scared he plotted something.
Yeah,
That's my
unless
theory.
he was like unless she had something on him that he's like, I have to go with her, like that kind of thing. So there's that. What'd you say? He survived? I think he survives. You guys okay? Daenerys.
I don't think they'll kill her. I mean, every season she's had a role. For
Yeah.
her to like die, that would be
I
heartbreaking.
don't think she's
Unless she
good.
dies at childbirth or something.
That would suck. Why do they always kill women that way? Come
Because
on.
it happens.
It's a really a realistic thing.
Yeah, it's a realistic thing.
Not anymore.
That's what John's mom died of.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I don't want her to die.
Yeah, so that's it. Anybody else that I missed?
I don't. There's probably someone like real obvious that we just didn't.
Yeah, like a big character.
Yeah. I'm trying to go
Fine.
through like
Jorah.
I'm trying to go through the houses.
Yeah.
You got all the Lannisters, right?
Yep.
The Starks.
Yes.
The Tigerian, parentheses S.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think. Who do you think is going to live or survive, live or die? Who will make it?
Who tells their story?
So after all this talk, what would you rate the season of Game of Thrones?
What's the rating
Like
scale?
dragon, like
Bleeding
how many
dragons?
No, there's. I don't think they hit
You
that
have a
emoji.
tier?
That emoji
Oh, okay.
exists.
Okay,
How many dragons?
sure, yeah.
I mean,
or
what else is there? Swords.
There's
the
swords.
The dragon
dragon glass.
glass. I couldn't think of it.
Or as we mentioned before, how many incest babies would
Oh
you give
my
it?
God. I would give it 9.5.
9.5 incest babies. Nice. Okay. How about you, Melinda?
How about you, Jim?
No, I'd give it. I mean, I got everything. It was super action packed. I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10 for this one. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Me too.
Incest babies.
babies?
9 dragons. And then keeping it PG over here.
Have you heard the previous
It wasn't me.
hour?
It wasn't me.
Watch it to find out what we said.
Sure.
As they've been doing.
That's all we have time for Game of Thrones. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for following us. We're Nerd Mixtape. You can find us on Twitter at Nerd Mixtape. You can find us on YouTube at tinyurl.com/nerd mixtape.
Or just search Nerd Mixtape on YouTube.
That's
and
an easier way.
Yeah, you know our logo. It's right here. Beep, boop.
Yep, and then find us on Facebook at
Facebook.com/Nerd Mixtape.
Yeah, so we're there. So thanks for the support. Hopefully you like this video. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
You've just pressed play on the Nerd Mixtape. Thank you for joining us. My name's Jim.
Don't we always start on this side?
Yeah,
No.
because I was on that side before.
Do it again.
Chloe.